Rosa and Callum, today we need to finalize your experiment plan. Your proposal mentions water, soil, and colored lamps, but the research question must identify only one independent variable. We originally wanted to compare watering schedules, because that seemed easy to manage. After reading the recent studies, though, we became more interested in whether different colors of light change plant growth.
The soil will be identical in every pot, and the watering system will deliver the same amount to each plant. So our main aim is to investigate the effect of light color on growth.
Good. State that clearly in the plan. Water and soil are controls, while light color is the variable you are testing. We also need to settle the plant species. I suggested tomatoes because their leaves are large and easy to photograph.
Tomato seeds cost slightly more than basil seeds, but the difference is small. I was more concerned that their germination might be uneven.
Germination can be improved by selecting seedlings of a similar size. The serious problem is time. Tomato plants take too long to reach a useful stage, and your teaching term is only 10 weeks. Then basil is safer. It develops quickly enough for us to observe several stages during the experiment. Yes. Use basil rather than tomatoes, because the tomato growth cycle is too long for your schedule.
For measurement, I can record the height of each plant with a ruler twice a week.
Height alone may be misleading. A plant could be tall but have very few leaves. We could collect all the plants at the end, dry them, and compare their mass. Dry mass is accurate, but it destroys the sample, so you could take that measurement only once. Photographs would let you calculate leaf area repeatedly without damaging the plants.
We can photograph each plant from above and use the image analysis program to calculate the total leaf area.
Let us use leaf area from photographs as the main measurement, with height recorded as supporting information. Agreed. Now consider the conditions that must remain constant. The pots can all be the same size.
The automatic system can give every pot exactly 40 milliliters of water each morning, so water quantity should be stable.
Temperature worries me. The red lamps produced noticeably more heat during our classroom demonstration. That will be your most difficult control. Place temperature sensors beside each group and adjust the ventilation if one treatment becomes warmer than the others.
I have used those sensors before, so I can reserve them. I can also book the light meter and the overhead camera.
I could check whether the 3 colored lamps are available in the same week. Rosa, please prepare the daily observation sheet. Callum, you will arrange all equipment bookings, including the lamps, sensors, meter, and camera. Keeping one person responsible should prevent duplicated requests.
Fine. I will submit the booking form this afternoon.
How many seedlings should we order? I calculated that 30 plants would give us 10 under each light treatment. 10 per group leaves little protection if some plants fail. Use 12 plants in each of the 3 treatments. That means you need 36 basil seedlings altogether.
We should allow the seedlings to adjust to the laboratory before changing the lights. Would 1 week be suitable?
A full week would reduce the experimental period unnecessarily. 4 days is enough for acclimatization, provided the plants receive normal white light during that time. After those 4 days, we divide them into red, blue, and white light groups.
What intensity should the lamps produce? During the demonstration, 600 lux seemed bright enough.
600 was suitable for observation, not sustained growth. Set every treatment to 800 lux, and check the reading at leaf level rather than beside the lamp. 800 lux for all three groups. I will add that to the observation sheet.
For the photographs, I thought we could place a grey card beneath each pot. That would make the green leaves easy to distinguish.
The software can separate the leaves from either grey or white. A white grid is more useful, because the grid provides a scale if the camera height changes slightly. Then every plant will be photographed against a white grid from the same overhead position.
We plan to start the pilot on the 12th of October. Does that still fit the laboratory schedule?
The preparation room is being cleaned on the 12th, so no plant work can take place then. The room is free 2 days later. Shall we confirm the 14th of October for the pilot experiment? Yes. Begin the pilot on the 14th of October. Test the camera position, light readings, watering system and temperature sensors before you bring in all 36 seedlings.
I will book the equipment for the 14th and send both of you the confirmation.
I will finish the observation sheet and label the white grids. We now have the plant species, measurement method, controls, sample size, settings, and pilot date. Good. Revise the written plan so every proposal is replaced by the final decision we made today.
Sienna and Farid, your project on travel choices among evening students now needs a precise data collection plan. You have proposed surveys, interviews, and observation, but each method must have a clear purpose.
The online survey is efficient, especially because students could complete it after class. My concern is that an online-only approach may exclude students who are less confident with digital forms or who rarely check university messages.
We could keep the online form and provide paper copies at a staff desk. That would give people another way to participate without abandoning the faster system.
A mixed approach is sensible. Use the same questions in both formats so the results remain comparable.
Interviews will take much more time than surveys. I am not sure they will add enough responses to justify the effort.
Their value is not the number of responses. Interviews allow participants to explain why they choose a bus, car, bicycle, or walking route. Those detailed reasons can clarify patterns found in the survey.
That would help because people may report what they think is environmentally responsible rather than describe their normal journey.
We can also observe the main bus stop after evening classes. Observation records what students actually do, including when they arrive, how long they wait, and whether they leave before a bus comes.
Yes, although observation cannot tell you why a person chose that route. Combine the behavioral record with survey and interview evidence.
I have another concern about the open survey responses. When we group free text comments into themes, our own expectations could influence how we interpret them.
We could avoid that by replacing every open question with fixed categories.
Fixed categories would be easier to count, but they might prevent participants from mentioning an unexpected reason.
Keep 2 short open questions. Write a coding guide before analyzing them, and have both of you code the first set independently. Comparing your categories will reduce subjective interpretation.
I can send the survey link to a few classmates tonight and ask whether anything is confusing.
Informal comments are useful, but they do not replace a structured pilot. The questions must be tested under the same conditions as the full survey before data collection begins.
We have not agreed on the sample size. I thought 60 completed surveys would be realistic within 2 weeks.
60 might be enough if responses are divided evenly across the 3 faculties.
The faculty comparison will be weak with only 20 students in each group. Set a target of 80 completed surveys. You may invite more than 80 people because some forms will be incomplete.
All right, the target is 80 usable responses rather than 80 invitations.
Where should we recruit participants? The cafeteria is busy before evening lectures, and we could set up a small desk near the entrance.
It is busy, but people are usually buying food and may not stop. The campus library has a steady flow after 6 o'clock, and students often wait in the entrance area.
Use the library. Ask permission for a recruitment desk in the entrance, but make sure you do not block the security gates.
We can display a QR code for the online form and keep paper copies at the same desk.
For the interviews, I drafted 12 questions. They could take about 40 minutes if participants give detailed answers.
40 minutes may discourage evening students. Could we reduce the interviews to 15 minutes?
15 would not allow enough follow-up questions. Limit each interview to 25 minutes. Select 8 central questions and keep the remaining 4 as optional prompts.
25 minutes should be manageable, and we can state the limit when inviting volunteers.
How will we record the survey answers collected at the desk? Paper forms are reliable, but entering them later would create extra work.
Participants could use their own phones to scan the code, although that returns us to the access problem I mentioned earlier.
The department can lend you 4 university tablets. Participants can enter their responses directly, and paper forms can remain available for anyone who prefers them.
I will reserve the tablets and check that the survey opens correctly on each one.
We plan to run the pilot on Tuesday with 10 volunteers.
Tuesday leaves too little time to revise the questions. The full collection is scheduled to start on Wednesday, so begin the pilot on Monday.
Monday is possible. We can review the pilot responses that evening and make changes on Tuesday.
Should the pilot include the interview as well as the survey?
Yes. Test the survey with 10 students and conduct 2 trial interviews. Also spend 20 minutes at the bus stop to check whether your observation categories are practical.
I will organize the tablets and observation sheet. Sienna can prepare the library desk and interview schedule.
I will also revise the coding guide before Monday, so we can test the open response categories.
Good. Your final plan is 80 survey responses, recruitment at the campus library, interviews of no more than 25 minutes, university tablets for direct entry, and a Monday pilot.
Hannah and Blake, I have read your literature review on urban green spaces and student stress. You have found enough material, but the draft still reads like a sequence of separate book reports.
We included 18 sources, and 12 of them were published during the last 5 years. I thought the quantity and recency were reasonable.
We also define urban green space in the introduction, including parks, community gardens, and planted areas on university campuses.
The number of sources and the definition are both acceptable. The organizational problem is that each paragraph begins with a different researcher's name and then summarizes that person's study.
So instead of moving from Chen to Patel and then to Robertson, we should bring studies together when they address the same issue.
Exactly. A literature review should show relationships across the research rather than present authors one at a time.
One source may need special attention. It is an online article called City Mind, and its survey includes nearly 2,000 residents.
It was published last year and contains several charts, so I assumed it would strengthen the review.
Recent publication and a large number on a chart do not guarantee reliability. Does the article explain how participants were selected or how stress was measured?
No. It reports percentages but gives no sampling procedure, questionnaire, or analysis section.
Then remove it. The problem is not its date or lack of statistics. The article provides no transparent research method, so its results cannot be evaluated.
We will replace it with a peer-reviewed study from the Environmental Psychology database.
Our current argument says that access to a park reduces student stress. Several studies report lower stress among students who use green spaces frequently.
One campus study also found that students living near a park had better well-being scores.
Be careful. Most of those studies collected data at a single point in time. They show a relationship, but they cannot prove that park use directly causes the reduction in stress.
Should we say that frequent park use is associated with lower reported stress?
Yes. Association is the accurate term. Students with lower stress may choose to visit parks more often, and other factors may influence both variables.
I think our evidence section is quite descriptive. Perhaps we should make each study summary longer so readers understand every method.
Or we could add 2 more studies that reach the same positive conclusion.
Neither change would create real synthesis. Compare studies that disagree. For example, one Canadian study found a strong relationship, while a study in a very hot climate found almost none.
We could examine whether climate, park design, or safety explains the different findings.
Good. Contrasting evidence allows you to discuss why results vary instead of simply counting how many studies support your argument.
I can check the whole reference list while I reorganize that section. Some journal titles use inconsistent capital letters.
I have already entered every source into the citation software. It will be faster if I check the citation style, missing page numbers, and journal formatting.
Agreed. Blake will check the citation formatting, and Hannah will lead the restructuring and comparison of findings.
What structure would work best? We considered arranging the review by research method, with surveys first and interviews second.
Another possibility is to create a section for each major researcher, although that sounds close to our current problem.
Organize the main sections by themes. You could use access to green space, frequency of use, features of the space, and psychological outcomes.
Themes will let us compare different methods inside the same section instead of separating them.
Our database search used green space, urban parks, campus nature, and student well-being. Are those terms broad enough?
Add restoration. It appears in restoration theory and in phrases such as restorative environments. That term may identify psychological studies your current search missed.
I will repeat the search using restoration alongside student stress and university.
We also need a clear publication range. I initially searched the past 15 years to avoid missing influential research.
Could we restrict it to 5 years? That would make the screening much quicker.
5 years is too narrow for the important theoretical work, while 15 produces too many older campus studies. Include research published within the past 10 years, then cite earlier work only when it explains a central theory.
10 years for the main evidence, with older sources used selectively for theory.
Our summary table currently records the author, publication year, country, and main finding.
Add each study's sample size. A result from 25 interview participants should not be interpreted in the same way as a survey of 1,500 students.
Should we also include the statistical test in the table?
Put detailed analysis methods in your notes. The table needs to stay readable, but sample size is essential.
When do you need the revised draft? Hannah entered Friday in our shared calendar.
Friday afternoon seemed realistic after the database search and citation check.
I need time to comment before Monday's seminar. Submit the revised draft on Thursday, and I will return brief notes by Saturday.
I will finish the citation formatting, updated search, and summary table by Wednesday evening.
I will reorganize the review by themes, remove the unreliable article, use cautious language about association, and compare the conflicting studies.
Good. Those changes will turn the draft from a list of source summaries into a critical literature review.
Noura and Raphael, I watched your practice presentation on climate adaptation in cities. The overall argument is promising, but several choices need revision before the assessed session.
We were worried that the slides looked too plain, so I added a consistent color scheme and fewer words.
I concentrated on the opening definition of climate adaptation because some students may not know the term.
The definition is accurate and the slides are visually clear. The strongest part, however, is your case study of the floodable park, because it connects design decisions with measurable reductions in flood damage.
That is useful to know. We can give the park example slightly more time and shorten a weaker section.
The best place to save time is the opening. You spend several minutes describing the history of urban planning before reaching the current climate problem.
I thought the historical background showed how city priorities had changed.
A brief sentence is enough. You introduce both speakers clearly, and you do not reveal the conclusion too soon. The main issue is simply too much history before your central question.
We will move directly from the definition to the present-day challenge.
What did you think of the animated map? It shows the flood zone expanding and then disappearing after the park is built.
The animation works on your laptop, although any animation carries a small technical risk. More importantly, viewers watch the moving colors instead of reading the figures beside the map.
We could slow the animation down so people have more time to examine the numbers.
That would extend the presentation without solving the attention problem. Replace it with 2 static maps and highlight the change in flood depth.
So the animation should go because it distracts from the data, not mainly because of timing or equipment.
Correct. Your evidence must remain the focus.
We also disagreed about audience questions. I prefer allowing short questions whenever a point is unclear.
I suggested an online form so people could submit questions silently while we speak.
Both methods could interrupt your structure. Tell the audience at the beginning that you will answer questions during a dedicated period at the end.
We will note repeated questions and divide them between us during the final discussion.
Some graphs also need work. The labels are readable, but two charts use different scales.
I can simplify the colors and make the legends consistent.
I created the data file and understand the scales, so it may be quicker if I revise every graph and then send Nura the updated versions.
Agreed. Raphael will revise the graphs, including the labels, scales, and legends. Nura will check that the slide text matches the new figures.
How long should the introduction be? Our first rehearsal used 5 minutes, and yesterday we reduced it to 3.
3 is still too long in a 12-minute presentation. Limit the introduction to 2 minutes, including the topic, central question, and a brief outline.
2 minutes will give us more time for the floodable park and the comparison of city policies.
Are there any terms besides climate adaptation that need explanation? We already defined sustainability on the second slide.
Sustainability is clear. You repeatedly use resilience, but the audience may interpret it differently. Define resilience as a city's ability to prepare for, absorb, and recover from climate impacts.
I will add that definition when resilience first appears.
Our evidence covers housing design and energy systems. Is the range broad enough?
Those sections have credible sources, but your claim about changing commuter behavior has no research citation. Add a source about urban transport and climate adaptation.
I found a recent transport study last week. I can connect it to the slide on low-emission travel routes.
We should arrange another rehearsal. My calendar shows room 341 for Thursday afternoon.
Room 341 was your earlier booking, but another class now has it. I reserved room 314 at 4 o'clock instead.
Room 314 on Thursday at 4. I will update the shared calendar.
When must we upload the final slides? I thought Wednesday evening would still be acceptable.
The technical team needs a full day to test every file. Submit the final slides on Tuesday, no later than 6 in the evening.
I will finish the graphs and transport source by Monday, so Nura can complete the final check on Tuesday morning.
I will shorten the history, define resilience, replace the animation with static maps, and prepare the closing question period.
Good. Keep the floodable park case study central, and make sure every revision supports the evidence rather than merely decorating the presentation.
Kira and Matteo, we need to revise your research schedule for the study of older adults' experiences with digital banking. Your first plan assumes that interviews can begin next week.
We reserved an interview room for next Wednesday, although the larger room is closed for repairs.
I also checked my availability. Kira will be away for one afternoon later in the month, but we can rearrange interviews around that.
Neither issue prevents the project. The problem is the ethics process. You allowed 3 working days for review, but the committee currently needs at least 10.
Then our first interview date is impossible because we cannot approach participants until approval is issued.
Correct. The ethics review will take longer than you expected, so every dependent task must move.
We can continue reading recent studies while the form is reviewed. Our literature review is nearly complete anyway.
I could also draft the data analysis plan and set up the file structure.
Both are useful background tasks. Before full recruitment, however, you must run the pilot interviews and revise the questions using the pilot feedback.
I thought we could recruit participants while piloting the interview with a smaller group.
Do not invite the full sample until the pilot is complete. Otherwise, you may recruit people for a procedure that later changes.
So the sequence is ethics approval, pilot interviews, revisions, and then participant recruitment.
Exactly. Some later tasks do not need to be strictly separate. How did you schedule transcription?
We placed all transcription after the final interview because we thought it would be easier to process the recordings together.
That creates a heavy week at the end. We could transcribe the first interviews while Matteo continues conducting the later ones.
That is better. Interviews and transcription can overlap, provided each recording is labeled and backed up on the day it is made.
Could coding begin at the same time as transcription?
You may note early ideas, but formal coding should wait until several transcripts are available. Final report writing must come after the coding framework is stable.
What is the biggest threat to the revised schedule? I am slightly worried about learning the analysis software.
Interview rooms might also become difficult to book when examinations begin.
You can reserve rooms early and complete software training before the data arrives. The main risk is recruiting enough participants, because the group you want to study may be cautious about discussing digital banking.
The community center runs weekly technology classes for older adults. I can ask whether we may introduce the project there.
I already know the center coordinator from my volunteering work. It may be more efficient if I contact her and explain the study.
Agreed. Matteo will contact the community center. Kira will prepare the participant information sheet and the university notice.
I will call the coordinator tomorrow and request a short visit after one of the technology classes.
We should now fix the dates. I plan to submit the ethics form on the 1st of March.
Some supporting documents will not be ready until the 2nd. Could we move submission to the 5th?
The 5th loses too much time. Finish the participant sheet tomorrow and submit the complete ethics form by the 3rd of March.
The 3rd of March is realistic if I complete the information sheet this evening.
How many volunteers do we need for the pilot? I found 2 people who match the participant criteria.
2 may not expose enough weaknesses. We could invite 6 and test 2 different versions of the questions.
6 is more than necessary, and you should not test competing versions at this stage. Use 4 volunteers in the pilot and ask all for the same questions.
For volunteers will also make the pilot recordings manageable.
For recruitment, I allowed 10 days after the pilot. Matteo thought we might need 3 weeks.
10 days is optimistic, while 3 weeks would delay analysis. Set a 2-week recruitment period and review progress after the first week.
If responses are low after 1 week, we can add a visit to the public library's digital support group.
Which software should we use for analysis? I can organize participant details in a spreadsheet, and SPSS would handle numerical survey results.
Keep personal details in the secure spreadsheet, but your main evidence is qualitative interview data. Use NVivo to code the interview themes.
I completed the introductory NVivo workshop, so I can create the project and show Kira the coding tools.
When should we meet again? I entered Thursday afternoon in the schedule.
I am examining presentations all day Thursday. Let us hold the next progress meeting on Friday at 11.
Friday at 11. By then we will have submitted the ethics form and confirmed the pilot volunteers.
I will update the timeline with the 3rd of March, 4 pilot volunteers, 2 weeks for recruitment, overlapping interviews and transcription, and in vivo for thematic analysis.
Good. A realistic schedule shows which tasks depend on approval, which can overlap, and where delays are most likely.